Hello and good morning. Welcome to Stampin' Chat. Let's just check we're live in the right place. Before we go any further, hoping that I will have some people joining me live this morning. I did kind of post, I think yesterday, just to let you know in advance that I was going to be coming back to a live. So got a couple of projects to share with you this morning. Before we go any further, just to mention that we have free shipping today. It's for 24 hours only. So if you're placing an order and it's £60 or more, you will qualify for free shipping. So if you're local, I've got an order going through. I'm happy to add anything onto that if you want to collect it from me. But yeah, that's really good news for today. So if you are joining, please do say hello. It's always nice to know who is here. I see there's somebody here. Okay, so it's been a long while since I've been able to hop on here and do lives. I did pop on in April, I think mid-April, and I did kind of a last minute live. Had a bit of time, had some time on my hands and thought, got an opportunity, let's go live. And I am quite out of sync of doing this. I'm just having things popping up now on my phone, which is really distracting. So I thought I was in Do Not Disturb. Good evening, I guess, Kerry, from all the way from Australia. Thank you for joining. It's lovely to have you here. So I've got two kind of quick and easy cards for you this morning, and there is a meaning for using the stamp set I'm going to be using. So it's the Choose Happy. This will be back to front, but because I'm on reverse camera, when I set you down in a moment, you will see that properly. But I'm going to be creating two cards, and then I've got kind of a little plan of how I want to move forward with my Facebook Lives in the future, because family circumstances have changed now, so I have more time on my hands during the week. So I plan to do like a bi-weekly live, whereas before I was live every week. For now, I'm going to stick with bi-weekly. But the way I'm going to work it is that I'm probably going to be live the first and third Tuesday each month. On the first Thursday, Tuesday, I will share some projects with you that I will also use at the third Tuesday. And this is kind of all a bit confusing, but I will post about it and I will talk about it and I will share links about it. But on the third Tuesday, you will have been able at that point to have ordered kits in the post, so that on that Tuesday you can actually stamp live with me. And when I say kits in the post, I don't mean sheets of cardstock, I mean bits and pieces cut to size, which is how I run all of my classes. You get a little kit with everything pre-cut, so you don't have to really think. You can just sit down, craft with me, stamp, stick, use whatever products you've got to hand and create something with me live. Also, that will be added to YouTube. I will upload it to YouTube, so it'll be on my YouTube channel, so you can order the kits and then create them in your own time. And that also covers the base for those people that don't do Facebook, because I've got a lot of connections with people who aren't on Facebook for various reasons. So few of you are joining. Good morning, Claire, how are you doing? Keeping good, I hope. The weather is kind of quite fair here at the moment. Today was supposed to be a bit of a rainy day later, but it looks like that shifted more towards tomorrow. The sun is trying to come out, but it's a bit chilly out there. I don't know if you've stepped outside, but it is a little bit chilly. So let's get you down on my desk. Enough of the face. I've seen enough for one live stamping session. I'm looking around me, making sure I've got everything. I hope I've got everything. You know me, I like to be prepared. I'm not so great at winging things, so I like to have everything organised. So I'm hoping that I've managed to get what I need to hand. If not, we'll just have to play it by ear. So bear with the palm of the hand. I'm going to put it down onto my desk. Wiggle everything around a bit. Wait for that to catch up. Put a bit of light on the subject. Turn that power bank on. Get that on. Okie dokie. I need to zoom a little bit and then squidge you around a bit. So you will see that I have chosen to use the Choose Happy. Are we straight? I think we are. Let's take that down. I've got some really funky washi tape today. Yes, the Choose Happy is from the new annual catalogue. So I have not been live since this beautiful publication launched, so I haven't shown you inside here yet. I know you've all seen inside here. I know loads of you have got paper copies, and I can now actually open this up. So the stamps that I'm using is kind of designed for, I wouldn't say new people, but navigating the new catalogue is something that could take you, you know, a few views of it. It's laid out much differently to our publications in the past, and you will find that the index in the back will become your best friend to begin with, because it's not laid out the same as I've said, so you may be looking for something and not be able to find it. So just use the index, that will guide you in the right direction. But the catalogue is sectioned out. We've got these little tab markers on the edge of the paper here, and this stamp set is near the beginning in the quick and easy option. So it's kind of been designed for sort of quick and easy creating, which is lovely. I'll just close it up, and I was going to tell you how much it is. So it's £20. It's $1 million sales stamp set. So during its process of design, and I'm not going to try and pronounce this lady's name, we'll just call her Renee for now, but she helped design the stamp set. So I love the little images in here. It's so much fun. To me, it kind of screams out really quick, easy cards for all occasions, great for scrapbooking too, and note cards, just sort of like little note card sets. That's kind of how it screams out to me. Good morning, Sue. How are you doing? Lovely to have you live. You've found me on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube, and now you've managed to catch the live. That's great. I think it's always good to be here for the live. I do really appreciate those that come back and find me on YouTube. I get some lovely comments over there from you all, so I really do appreciate it. So back to the Choose Happy. I love all of the words that we've got in here. You know, wordage is really important. And as I said, this is a really good one. It's all occasion, but a really good one for scrapbooking as well, just because you've got this whole sort of array of different images here. I particularly love the bird which I'm using today, but this cute little bunny is very sweet. Now, there are no dies that go with this. Good morning, Jess. How are you doing? How's that little munchkin? Keeping you busy, I'm sure. Bless you. So what else am I using? This is my go-to. Well, I've got a few go-to die sets at the moment. I feel like I'm really zoomed in way too far, but we'll assess that in a moment. The Unbounded Love, let me find it in the catalogue. So, easiest way. We do have, like, as we start off in the beginning of the book, we've got this section for sort of quick and easy crafting for sort of like new people, but for those of us that are way used to our catalogue and our products, We then turn into all of our suites and collections. So this is where you will see all of our DSP in these sections. There is no page that has all of the pattern papers on. And as you go past the suites and collections, then we turn into, when I get there, our bundles. So these are our Encore products. So we have all of the bundles there. But the Unbounded Love will be on page 55. It's adorable. So it is available as a bundle. We've got this lovely stamp set that goes with it. But those dies are just so usable. And then we've got the beautiful Unbounded Beauty DSP. So I'm going to be focusing on this kind of colours that are in here. They're the new in colours. So my live, where you can stamp live with me in June, which will be the 3rd week in June, I will be using, I'm just looking because I've got my projects here, I will be using this die set and this stamp set. So you've been unwell, Jess, bless you, you're much better than you were. Ellen is a cutie and definitely occupies the time. Yeah, you know what they say, babies, they are definite time wasters, aren't they? But I will say, just enjoy every moment and just lap it all up, because I know everybody says this, and I was having this discussion with Sophie, like, Sophie's my daughter, and she's got a 19-month-old, Luca. Everyone says, oh, time just goes so quickly, make the most of it, because they grow up so fast. And like now he's walking around, he's trying to talk, and she just can't believe where the time has gone. So just make the most of it. Yeah, so Unbounded Love, absolutely beautiful, perfect for scrapbooking. I do have, for my live on the first Tuesday next month, I've got a scrapbook page lined up for you. I've also got a couple of sort of 3D projects lined up, and they will all theme around this. So hopefully by the end of the month, by the end of next month, you will have seen lots of things created with this and hopefully be feeling sort of very inspired with it. So that's my plan with my lives each month, to focus on something and just share lots of things using it. Let's move that out of the way. I've mounted up the stamps that I need. And I've got some kits cut ready. So I have on my projects, I wanted to show these. We were having a discussion last night. I had a class here last night. So this is, let's get a piece of cardstock. So I've got peach pie, that might just show it better. So this is the new eyelet embossing folder. Right, I'm going to have to zoom out a smidge because I feel like I'm too close. So this is the eyelet. It is beautiful. But if you only have the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, sadly, this size doesn't fit through. But on the online exclusives, we've got this set of embossing folders called the Fun Patterns. And I have used this one on one of my cards. But I think I'm going to try and use the eyelet one, just so that I can show you that one. But these are much thinner. They're not the 3D folders. As I said, they come as a pair, but they're on the online exclusives. So you all need to be looking at the online exclusives because it's very easy to forget about them. When we've got a lovely catalogue going on, it's easy to forget what other products that we have as well. So those are the Fun Patterns. Great because they fit inside the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Also do all of these fit inside the mini as well, which is great. Okay, let's move that away. Let's put that on my machine because I'll be using that. So this is my first kit. So when I talk about kits in the post, this is what you will receive: layers and pieces, not just a sheet of cardstock that you have to measure and cut. You will actually receive cut to size pieces to complete your project step by step. Kerry, I'm just looking at chat a moment. Your eldest granddaughter started school this year and you don't know where the time has gone. I know. My eldest has just had her 6th birthday and it's just incredible how time just flies by. So let's get organised. There's not a lot happening here with this kit, is there? But it's going to be kind of quite plain and simple, but it will be pretty, I can assure you that. Right, let us start. So we've got my standard base size of 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. I'm just going to fold that and burnish it with our bone folder. That wasn't very straight. This is not an essential gadget, but it really is something that you will buy once and it will be in your craft bag forever. It's something that I use every time I make a card. You could use your nail, but if you wear nail polish, that might rub off onto your card. And the bone folder is just a great thing for, especially if you like making boxes and bags and things like that. It's one of those sort of boring essentials. I know you'd rather spend money on pretty stamps or lovely papers, but when you're starting out especially, it's good to get the core essentials that will make your life a lot easier. Right, to start with, I think I'm going to do some stamping. So we've folded our base. I've got a scrap here to do some stamping on. And I'm only using my Memento ink today. I've pulled out some blends. Show you what colours we've got. What have we got in here? So, don't know why that's in there. I don't need that today. We have got Pretty in Pink, which is one of our new in colours, along with Peach Pie, another new in colour. Honestly, I cannot put these colours down. They are just so very me. Summer Splash, which is the 3rd in colour I'm using. And then I've got light and dark grey granite because sadly we don't have basic beige, which is a new basic colour. We don't have that in a blends pen, but I'm finding that I'm sort of teaming grey granite with that. Works sort of quite well as sort of a neutrally colour. So those are my blends I'm going to be colouring with, and I'm going to be inking up my images with Memento because the blends are alcohol based. Using the Memento means that it won't bleed when we start colouring. So firstly, I've inked up this lovely flower. Morning, Belle, my lovely. How are you? Yeah, tools are the different makers to the overall look of a finished card. Yes, I totally agree. I did clean all my blocks before I started. Didn't make a very good job of that one. So I love this kind of daisy flower image. It's just great on its own. It's great as a background. It's easy to trim around with your scissors. I know some of you don't enjoy cutting out, but I don't find it painful at all. And honestly, if you don't like fussy cutting, then it just means you have to do more on layers rather than sort of layering up with cutting out. I'm going to stamp a few of these because I've got a lot of things that I want to design with this over the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to do, let's do a whole strip, and then we've got them, and I'm going to set them to dry. Just squeeze another one in the end. If you can hear a rumbling kind of noise, it's Alfie snoring under my desk. He, with age, he has adapted a good snore, shall we say. Bless him. Snoring like an old man under there he is, but he's happy. The other I mean, there are lots of cute images in here, but the other one that I love is this beautiful bird. So let's ink that one up, and we'll fill this whole sheet as well. Make sure that I'm in shot. And then these can just sit to dry, and then when I'm creating later, I've already got some that are ready stamped. Let's see if we can squeeze another one. That was ink on the end. There we go. So we've got a whole row. That's quite a good, those are quite in line, aren't they? If I was trying to make these all line up, I would never have been able to do that, but they look quite straight, don't they? Don't know how that managed. Okay, let's pop the lid back on the ink. Now, I've pulled out my Pretty in Pink and my basic beige. And on my original card, I did use basic beige with a blending brush. But I think I'm going to try this card with the Pretty in Pink and see how it comes out. Now, it may not be quite what I'm thinking, but let's just try it and see. I've got my original that you can see if it just looks awful. I need a scrap. Somewhere I've got some scraps of grid paper. Some old scraps. Now I'm using a small blending brush. Let me grab you a big one so you can see the difference. So slightly, let's lay them down, slightly shorter, but the head on them is so much smaller that it's just much easier with certain tasks. Now ideally I want to create just a background on my base card. A larger one would probably be easier to use, but I have the small one that I've been using with Pretty in Pink, so I'm going to stick with that one. And just be really careful not to create a splodge in the middle first. So, good morning, Julie. How are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. So, these brushes, some of you most of you, if you're on here live, you've seen lots of demonstrations using the brushes. But I had a class last night, and I had a lady that hadn't used these. She'd been with Stampin' Up for many years, but has kind of got out of the loop for a bit, and she's come back and rediscovered her love of stamping. And she's not obviously seen the blending brushes because they've not been with us for that long. So I had to show her how to use them. And the way I like to use them is kind of a two-handed job. So I pick up ink in a circular motion, and I will say this does kind of drain ink from your ink pad, so having an ink refill bottle is priority. And I always suggest when you buy new ink colour, buy the ink refill bottle at the same time, and then you know that you can always top it up. So pick up ink in a circular motion, and then we take a bit off. Can you see how harsh that is initially? If I'd have gone down onto my card straight away, it would be very hard for me to cover that up without adding lots and lots of ink. So I want to take off the initial harshness. And gosh, I felt that was really Gloucestershire then, how I said that, harsh. And I'm just going to gently, to start with, add a bit of colour. And then as I work, I can pop my finger on here and then add more pressure. I just want to create like a bit of colour. Right, I'm really pressing quite hard now. Just going in a lovely circular motion. Now, I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't look so great on camera. Let's add a bit more. Take off the intensity. Can you actually see what I'm doing? Just add a bit more. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to love this finished, but we'll see. It may have been that I should have chosen the peach pie, but we'll see. So we're just adding in some colour, and you can build this up to be quite intense. I've got a class coming where we are focusing on the blending brushes and the new in colours, and I can't wait to share it because I love how it's turned out. Put that away. So we've now got some colour which looks a bit, it's a bit dark here. We could add more colour and kind of pull it all together, but because this is just, it's going to be kind of covered over, so I'm not going to worry about it too much, because we're going to pop that layer right the way over the top. So this piece of peach pie measures 3 5/8 by 1 3/4. Also, if you're looking at my watch and thinking it's 4:10, my watch has been 4:10 for quite a few days now. It keeps having a moment. It's been back in for repair a couple of times. They said it had demagnetized. It's an automatic, so it's like self-winding. And I'm just fed up with it now because it just keeps stopping and then randomly working. So I've had to get back to the shop to try and figure out. So I now want a replacement because it's being such a pain. And I don't like being without a watch. So yeah, it's definitely not 4:10. We are still only in the morning here in the UK. So my layer is going to pop down there. Next I want to do a little bit of die cutting, and then we'll sit and do some colouring. I've pulled out, I don't know why this gets so grubby under here, and I think it's obviously just adhesive, and it will come off with an adhesive remover. It's where people have accidentally cut onto here, and then adhesive just gets stuck to it. But today I am treating myself to a brand new plate. I've got my trusty little printer. This is what I use to label all my die sheets and everything. This is donkey's years old, but you can still get the tape for it. I think I must have bought that for Sophie when she was about 10 or 11 maybe, and she's now 28. So it got put away with all my craft stash, and then I rediscovered it and realised that I can still buy the tape for it. So, and this is what I print for my die sheets. So I buy the clear tape with the black lettering. So what do I need? This lovely scallopy oval. So we're going to cut straight onto this new plate. I don't need to bring my machine in because it will just take up all of the room. Let's get a little bit of washi tape. Had a new roll this morning. I think this is definitely from a Stampin' Up kit in the past. Remember when we had the Project Life? Who remembers that? So I'm just going to cut that one out really quickly. There's nothing nicer than having brand new plates for your cutting machine. How gorgeous is that? You've got the scallop edge detail and then the stitched around the middle of it as well. Absolutely beautiful. And you probably you can't see that from some of these dies. If I show you close up, so can you see the stitching? And of course these ones cut the centerpiece out as well. Just stunning, absolutely beautiful. Right, I need those as well. Probably got some, this one's one of my favourites too. This little one. So that die cuts that piece out, but they're separate, so super cute. Absolutely perfect for scrapbooking. Absolutely perfect. Right, let's cut a couple of these and then we can sit and do a bit of colouring. So how are we all and what have we been up to? What day are we today? Tuesday. I'm all out of sync because my life has just changed as regards looking after the little ones. So I was away, I've even lost track of time, but I went off to Monaco. Right, let's just cut these quickly and then I'll chat. Jason was racing at Monaco for the Formula One Historic Grand Prix. So I went with him. Just cut these, push the pieces out. And I've had a bit of time away, and then I've come back, and I kind of feel out of sync. So the next couple of weeks, I'm sort of going to be finding my legs, so to speak, and getting myself into some kind of a routine. Let's just push all the pieces out. I still don't have the brush end that goes with this. How terrible is that? How many hundreds of times have you heard me say on here that I need to order the brush end that goes on here, and I never do. What were we talking about? Those tools that make our life easier, but they come out really easily. Trusty old take your pick tool, that is definitely a tool that every crafter needs. It's just amazing. Right, so we've got some elements. Now let's do a little bit of colouring. I've got some that I did stamp very early. What do I need? A couple of flowers and a bird. Take a seat. Rest the back. Do you mean you like pushing the pieces out, Jess, when you're die cutting? Right, what do I need? I need Pretty in Pink. Having a discussion last night with my ladies at class as to which is their favourite new ink colour. And obviously it's very debatable. I do love them all. And being a subtles kind of person, they are kind of subtle, but they've got like that little bit of pop of colour as well, which is what I do love about them. So I'm going to colour both of my flowers. I think I did on my original. No, do you know what? I'm going to colour one of each. One in Peach Pie and one in Petal Pink. Petal Pink, Pretty in Pink. Petal Pink is much paler. Right, so I'm going to start with light, as I always do. So it's really quick colouring. No rocket science. No blending skills needed. We were also having a discussion last night just about how fabulous these pens are, the Stampin' blends. So when you purchase them, they come as a pair. So I've just got the dark here. I'm just kind of filling a bit of colour in the centre. Oh, I don't know if I can show that without standing up because I can't see what I'm showing you. And then we'll do the other one in light and dark Peach Pie. Yeah, just how fabulous these pens are. They come in a light and a dark as a set. They are £10.50 a set. They are alcohol markers, so use them with your memento. Oh, my light's just gone out. That's good. I think my power bank has run out. Right, bear with me 2 ticks. I will see if my brain can fathom out how I do that. Because having my new MacBook, right, I need to plug that into a phone. Having a new MacBook, oh god, can't get the plug out of the wall. there's no like connection. It's such a pain. How am I going to do this? Honestly, my menopause brain is shot. When I'm faced with a task, I just cannot fathom it out. I'm always ribbing my husband for not being able to do two things in one go. Right, basically I need to plug my light into some power. Let's put that in there while I reach. Yay, we're cooking the gas. Yeah, I have no USB port in my iPad, in my MacBook, which is a real pain because you can't plug things in there just to charge. You've got to have all these extra connecting cables that Apple like to sell us at premium prices. I mean, I get it, but I'm just going to go back over the dark. The lighting was okay without the extra light. Okay, thank you. It just feels really dark when I'm working. Okay, so we've just coloured in those two. Such a cute image, this. And then I'm going to go with Summer Splash for the leaves. Because, I mean, to me, this is the next debate. Is this blue or green? So my eyes tell me that Summer Splash is blue. You might think it's green, but it's blue. So as far as I'm concerned, we're having blue leaves, but it kind of works. It's fine, you know. We've got the license to do whatever we like and whatever colour. There we go. I was chatting with Sophie yesterday. So I had Luca in the morning. So I have a Monday morning free now. So I'm having Luca, who's like 19, 20 months. And I took him back, and Sophie and I were chatting, and she's got a new embroidery hoop that she's just stitching. And she was Googling, she'd created this lovely basket with like foliage and some flowers on, but they weren't specific flowers. They almost looked like a bud, and they were kind of an orangey colour. So she was sort of trying to find a name for this hoop, and the flowers were sort of orangey, so she kind of Googled orange flowers. But in reality, it doesn't really matter, does it? If you call it a certain flower and it's not the right colour, you know, nobody's gonna hopefully get too angry with you about it. It's just, you know, we've got the license to do whatever we like, don't we? Right, Belle, what are you saying? Summer Splash is a blue-green, so you think it's a blue. Yeah, I kind of agree. Hi Jill, good morning. How are you feeling, my lovely? Summer Splash is definitely turquoise. That's a good description. It's a good description. But of course we can all agree to disagree, because we're all entitled to whatever colour we think it should be. Sorry, my OCD is making me turn all of my pens over so they're facing the same way. How awful is that? Right, let's colour in our little tweet. Let's do a light peach pie tummy. And then we're going to go with light grey granite, and straight away I'm going to blend that area where the two colours meet, and we'll just colour in the body. Grey granites, it is a colour of course, but it's not a pretty colour, but I do actually love it as neutral. And I didn't want to pull in crumb cake because I feel crumb cake and basic beige obviously are very different kind of beiges, so I thought this was quite a nice contrast. So I'm just going to use the dark grey granite for his beak, and then I'm just going to put like some dottage. So I've just put some dots there. I'm going to come back in with my light and kind of like blend that out. And we just let it dry for a minute. Let it seep in. I might just pull that colour up the tail a bit. Just to add a bit of shadowing. And as it dries, it will kind of just like filter in. So that's our colouring. Right, so you don't have to put up with my OCD. I'm just going to throw them all back in there and then I cannot worry about how they're looking. I know some of you can relate. And I know some of you don't really do tidy crafting. But it's just the way it is. I'm like it when I cook. So when I'm cooking dinner, because of my annoying issues with food and specifically garlic, I absolutely adore garlic, but I just can't tolerate it. I have to cook everything from scratch, and you may well know that cooking from scratch can quite often mean there's a lot of washing up and stuff and lots of things coming out of the pantry. So I'm like tidying up behind myself as I go along, and normally by the time we're eating dinner, everything is sort of tidied away and washed up and draining, and honestly, draining, that is me, I think. I think I'm quite draining on people at times, very wearing. My husband will probably tell you that because I'm such a nag. Don't do this, do it this way. Right, let's trim around. Oh, it's so much better now. I've got glasses that work. So you know me, I like to leave that white space. And I don't know what happened to my thumb, but I kind of cut right under my nail. That isn't dirt under there. That's, dare I say, blood. I don't know what I did. I don't know how it happened, but it just became very sore. And couldn't pick anything up with it for a couple of days. I don't know what I've done to it. So yeah, just trimming around. Well, now I'm chuckling at myself because I always give too much of a story. I'm a storyteller, am I? You never get a shortened version. Never. You always get the full story, the whole hog, the ins and outs that you probably don't even want to hear. You get it from me. Yeah, I consider myself to be quite quiet. I'm very private, and there is a difference. I am very private about things. Like, I don't discuss my family. I don't share, like, Facebook. If you're listening, don't throw me out for this, please, because I do rely on Facebook for my business. But like, I don't share personal things on Facebook. It's just not me. Right, it's trimming around this little tweet. So cute. I think it's like the eye where he or she is just like happily fluttering around with that look of content. Oh, I think I'm out of shot totally. Oh, oops, I'm doing a bell. Going off piste. There we go. So, not the greatest of cutting. So we've got 3 little... I know you all love my stories, you tell me, but sometimes I have to hold back and just have a quiet conversation with myself about, Kerry, that is definitely too much information. Right, what do I need to do next? Let's take all that to one side. I'm going to do a bit of splattage with a difference. Now, we've got a lovely splat. I've had to part with some splats in stamp sets that have retired. And we've got a lovely, talking of birds, another lovely bird here, but we've got this lovely splat in the Country Birdhouse set, but it's quite a lot of splat. It's an intense splat. And sometimes we want something that's just slightly more subtle. So what we're going to do, I've got my grey granite ink refill. I'm going to put a little dot on there. We don't want to waste it, and we won't use all of this, but it will dry and we can rejuvenate it with water and reuse it. Then I've got one of the, I want to say, water painters. I was going to say aqua painter, I think that's what they used to be called. They come in a pack of 3. So we have 2 like fine brush tips, one shorter, one longer. Then we have this super duper like artist brush style for adding more colour, more intensity. But I'm going to use this one today. Is that actually in focus? I've also noticed we're hanging off the edge of my grid paper, but right, where is that bit? Let's open this out. Now, this is not for the faint-hearted, because you have to be very careful and move everything away from around you. I've got my white jeans on today, so I need to be quite careful what I'm doing. So I'm just going to gently, can you see here, it says push. Just going to gently squeeze and add some water. You will kind of see it bobble down the brush and just create a kind of watery blob of ink. And then I'm going to gently, I'm going to do it from a distance. I'm going to step back slightly. I'm just going to tap the brush with my bone folder just to create, maybe go a bit harder and then add a bit more. Oh, perfect. Add a bit of colour. Let's just, it's got a wet wipe here, and what I just like to do is squeeze it all out, because I've finished with it, I think. Yeah, just going to squeeze out all of that colour, and then I will get a little pot and give it a little swizzle around just to get rid of any colour that's left in that brush tip. So they are beautiful. Let's see if we can find them in the catalogue. We'll just let that dry. So we've got like a very subtle amount of splattage going on here. If you have it too watery, it will kind of try and blot into your paper. What are we looking for? Tools. So, oops, tools are over here. So we've got water painters on page 118. So when I say our catalogue is laid out differently, like we don't have a page with like all of these products on. You do have to kind of look for them a bit. So you will see we've got here. So we've got this lovely spread here about watercolour techniques. So we've got everything on here that we need, and we've got these here which say paint with water. So it doesn't show you like a full picture of all of them, but it does show you what you can create with it. So that's where you will find the codes. Obviously, if you're an online kind of person, you can just do a search and find things on there, but you cannot beat a paper copy. Hope you agree. Right, I feel like I'm taking way too long today, so let's get on with the task in hand. So now we're going to start laying our pieces down. We do want to add in a greeting at some point, but let's stick these down first. So, got our trusty Tombow. Let's take the end off. I'm just going to pop this layer. Oh gosh. You can see I haven't crafted this morning. Well, this is maybe a good point to show you what I do when this happens. Right, I know what you all want to do at this point. You want to squeeze the life out of this Tombow until something comes out and happens. But I can tell you that that is not the way to go, because it will then come out with a vengeance like a volcano and you will have a huge splodge. Now what has happened is, just in here, it has dried up. There's a bit of glue that has dried up in the end. You could try and grab it with your take your pick tool, but you don't want to make this end. If you start digging scissors in here, you're going to make that end very rough and then your glue won't come out smoothly. So while we're here, let's just show you what we do. Grab that back in. Right, we take the end off. Now these wind the opposite way to what they should. So carefully take the end off. There's loads of glue in here. Okay, wind it the right way, goodness gracious. Okay, and it looks all good, there's plenty of glue. Take your pick tool or your pokey tool, whatever you have, push it down in and push at the end, and you will see that bit of dried up glue is stuck. Don't know if you can see as I pull it out. Okay, so do that a couple of times. Let's give it another push. Make sure that you've cleared the end. You'll need to wipe that off sooner rather than later. Pop that back on, and then hopefully, she says, we should be clear to go. I think there's still maybe a little bit in there, but that's the way to sort your Tombow out. When you think it's empty, I can assure you it is not empty. There will always be some in there until you squeeze it and it kind of puffs out air at you. It's not empty, okay? When it gets to this point where it's feeling light, store it upside down like that. And then when you go to use it, the glue is always at this point ready for you to use. Right, wasn't concentrating, so I hope that's somewhat straight. If not, it's too late. It's down now, so. And then we'll add on our gorgeous little scallopers. See, this is definitely not clear. Just give the end another wipe. There's definitely a little bit of dried up glue left in there, but we'll deal with that later. Let's have a bit more. Just means I've got to squeeze a bit harder for now. And we're going to pop that one right down in the middle, so it just hangs over the edge of the peach pie layer. Then I'm going to curl. You can curl your flower anyway, and then turn the leaves the opposite way, just so that it's got a bit of life. Like that, and we'll do the same to the bird. Give his body a bit of a curl and then pull his wings the other way. Like that. Grab some mini dimensionals and just pop one behind each of those. So what are we all up to today? The weather is trying to behave, but not as nice as it has been. I know we've got some of the wet stuff coming later tonight and into tomorrow. So let's just pop a couple of flowers there. Move that one up a bit. It's a bit hidden. Pop our little birdie up here, happily flying away. Let's do a little bit of stamping for our greeting. And I haven't cut a bit. Let's have a look what we've got in my, I'm not sure if that's going to be wide enough. gosh, they're not all going to go back in. I'll do that in a minute. Haven't got time to faff. And I want a slightly wider piece. I have these bags of like cut off bits and pieces that are all kind of different widths that are just really handy. That looks like it could be about right. And then from the stamp set, we've got all these lovely different words to choose from. So, oh, I've already pulled out what I need. So I'm going to do happy birthday because that just works well for what I'm doing. Oh, Julie, you're off to bed. It's nighttime in New Zealand. Bless you. Well, have a good night's sleep. You rub the glue tip in the palm of your hand to release the dry glue. Yeah, that's another good way, is to kind of work in a circular motion like that to sort of pull it out and get it out. See, look, there we go. That is a good tip. A very good tip. Thank you for that one. I think my theory on that is I don't want glue all over me, but we end up having to wipe our hands anyway, so yes, I'm going to use the happy birthday. Jill, you're making a card for your son today. He starts his A-levels tomorrow. Oh, bless him. We're sending good luck wishes for him. Quite a stressful time for you all as he goes through that. I hope he does well. That's quite wide. I'm going to snip a bit off of it. Just trim it down a little bit. Don't think that was straight, but we'll use one end of it and then we won't know any different. So let's just stamp the happy. Love this font. It's like a happy little font, isn't it? And then we'll do the birthday. And because they're photopolymer, you can see straight through what we're doing, so it's much easier to line it all up. So just snip that one off. Oh, Alfie, you're such a snory Joe down there. So just chop an even bit off. We might need those bits in a minute. Wet wipe away. And then we'll just pop some dimensionals behind here. I do love how we learn from each other as well. That's the great thing about this community. The majority of people, and I will say the majority, are very friendly, very helpful, and very willing to offer good advice. Right, so we're just going to pop the happy on there, like that. And the birthday down there. And then to finish, from the Unbounded Love set, just got these lovely leaves. In fact, I think I'm only going to do one. Just bend that up the other way. Teeny bit of Tombow. And just wedge it under. Like that. And I think I prefer the pink background as opposed to the basic beige. Would you agree? So we did this card very similar to this at my team event last week. Different colours. We used Peach Pop, which is beautiful, another in colour. So yeah, quite enjoying that pretty in pink background. So quite clean and simple. I've waffled a lot, that's why it's taken me so long. You could whip this up in no time at all. Not many layers on there. So see the splattage there. And think about the other images that are in this set and the other words that you could use. So that's my first card. My second card is going to be a stepped up version of that. So very similar pieces, not a lot in my kit. Thank you, Kerry. It is quite sweet and pretty, if I'm allowed to say so myself. You know me, I love my white space. Right, so back to card number 2. So we've got our 8 1/4 by 5 3/4, so roughly half a sheet of UK A4, and we're just folding it in half down the middle. Now we're going to do virtually exactly the same. So I need to cut. I will cut my scallop over. I've got the sniffs again. I don't know whether I've got like some kind of hay fever, but I've been very sniffly. But here we go again, TMI. When I go to blow my nose, there's nothing there. It's just a bit random. That will do. So I think that's all I need to die cut. Yes, let me just cut those out quickly. Oh, of course they moved. So as I said, if you've got the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, this Unbounded Love set works perfectly with that, because all of the dies are quite small, quite petite. Oh, that doesn't look like I cut it very well. I'll push those pieces out. Sometimes going back and forth when you've got an intricate, might have to go back over that one, let's see. Oops, drops it. Oops, I did an oops then without realising it. Yeah, I'm going to just run that back through. Yeah, going over a die, cutting it twice, so running it through your machine and then pulling it back should help you get all the little pieces out. And I can see that's just cut much better. Can you see that? So we've got dots on here to help push out the die cut. And throwing it down on your desk like that also helps to remove some of the stubborn pieces that get left behind. So let's just push those out. Just come out so easily. So our machines, our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machines, they're all going to have a different tension on them. And that could depend on the actual machine itself. It could depend on the amount of usage that it gets. So cutting things will vary from one machine to another. Right, what do I need? I need another bird, and I need 2 flowers. And I'm going to emboss this one. And I'm going to put it in my eyelet embossing folder because this one is beautiful. We were using this last night and I know everybody loved it. So I'm just lining up with that bottom line so it's kind of straight. And I do kind of look to see if it's like equal against all of the, you probably can't see that, but of the petals. Just gives you an indication if it's somewhat straight. I'll just run that one through. But look at that, it's beautiful. The reverse is equally pretty. I always find that with our embossing folders, quite often sometimes torn on which side to use. Right, let's do a quick bit of colouring. Just going to blow my sniffy nose. Even though there's absolutely nothing there, it just annoyingly wants to make me sniff. Thank you, Jill. You like the pink? Yeah, I like the pink too. Right, we're going to do the same. We'll do one pretty in pink, one peach pie. Gosh, all the peas. I have been wanting to call peach pie peach pop, and I'm training my brain that it's not peach pop, and it's actually peach pie, like pumpkin pie. Honestly, the brain cells are not performing. I don't know if they've ever performed that well, quite frankly, with me. Not having too much common sense and all that kind of thing, but it's getting harder to get the words out sometimes, even, especially when I'm tired. Let's have a bit of a longer. Yeah, the words sometimes just don't want to come out. So, free shipping today until, I wouldn't leave it too late. I would say 10:30, 10:45. Don't leave it any later, because if there's a glitch, you will miss out. So if you've got a few things on your wish list and they are just exceeding £60, then get those ordered today while you can take advantage of shipping for free, because £6.95, I appreciate it is a lot of money to spend on shipping. So right, let's just colour in the leaves. So we're using the Summer Splash. And you can either just go down the middle and one side. So light first. I know some of you go dark first. Really simple, really quick. I think we'll have a pink bird on this one, and then we'll trim those out very quickly. What are we doing for time? 11:10. Need to get a wriggle on. Grey granite as well. So yeah, I plan to be back here on the first Tuesday, which, I need to look at my planner, will be bi-weekly now. Colour this in really quickly. Pull in a bit of dark. I don't recommend you leaving your lids off of your pens for too long, because the air will get to them and they will dry out. So, all those colours together. Bit of dark for the beak. And then we'll give them a trim out. See if I can cut a bit better this time. Trying to cut, make sure that I'm in shot. My tummy's rumbling, I don't know why, because I have fed it. It's gone 11, hasn't it? So it's 11's time, that's what it's telling me. Coffee and a snack. I'm a definite grazer. How about you guys? Can you manage to drink a coffee without having anything with it? I find that really hard. I like to have something with a coffee. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I make my power balls. And I've got 2 recipes that I use now. I've got like the chocolatey one, which has cocoa in it. And obviously dates and nuts. But then I've also found an oaty version that has desiccated coconut in and dates and nuts, but with the oats, and that is quite yummy. So I often have one of those and maybe some dried fruit and some nuts with it. That is my snack. Since Christmas anyway, my snack used to be a digestive biscuit, but I'm trying to be good in the week with my sugar intake. So, I mean, it goes out of the window at the weekend. You know, we only live once. We've got to have some good treats in our life. So I'm careful all week, and then I do have a little bit of a treat at the weekend. Don't overdo it. Right, just trimming around. It's nice, easy flower to cut. Just turning your paper as you're closing your scissors. Maybe we'll do our flowers the other way round on this one. So I'm going to take your pick tool, just give it a good old squish in the middle. That stuck to me then because I've got that, still got that bit of tombow where I took the dried up bit out. And then we'll turn the leaves back. Like that. To be gentle doing things like this because you could quite easily pull a leaf off or a wing off. Right, what did I do with this next bit then? I need to stamp some greetings and I need to pull a punch from my collection. Sadly, we've lost quite a few punches from our collection, but this is the Trucking Along. It's this one. It's an online exclusive, that's what OE stands for. And I want to use that circle on there because I've got some retired circle punches, but I didn't want to pull in a retired one. So I'm going to make a notch out of the edge. Just find a pencil. And I'm just going to mark up on each side 1/2 inch. Just to give me a guideline. Can you see my little pencil mark there? And I'm just going to wedge that in. I've got to be careful I don't cut any of these elements from my piece, but I'm just going to pop in and just take a little wedge out from each side. Can you see that bit there? I have to be careful not, so I'm just turning my paper because I don't want to chop into anything else. So I've just created 2 little notches either side. Julie, yeah, the oat ones are delicious and they're so simple, but you do need some kind of like NutriBullet or grinding kitchen gadget. I've got a Thermomix which is just perfect for it, but it's basically, I use organic oats because I am down the organic route, trying to as much as I can. So I use oats, dates, and then nuts, and I usually mix almonds with cashews, or walnuts, or Brazil nuts, whatever nuts. I can try and put the recipe up if you want. So, brain engage. Oats, dates, nuts, desiccated coconut, and I think that's it. You just blitz it. So it's once you put the date, you blitz the nuts and the oats first, then add the dates in, and that's what will make it bind. And then I sort of push them into ice cube trays and then set them in the fridge for half an hour to an hour. And when they're solid, when they've sort of cooled down, you can actually push them out of the mold, and then you can add a bit of like dark chocolate on the top for an extra treat. So yeah, they're really easy and quick and simple to create. But I will try and remember to put a recipe up. Or if you're on Instagram, Julie, then I can just forward you send you the reel that I found them on. Right, linen thread, good old linen thread. I'm going to wrap that around. I'm going to put a glue dot behind each of those little notches that I just made. Oop, where did that one go? It flew. I thought for a minute I hadn't picked it up, but... And I'm just going to attach like that. Right, I'm just going to scribble that down on a piece of paper. Power ball, because I'll forget. That's how my head is. And let's do the final bit of stamping, and then we can just stick it all together. Right, so we want, because I've got photopolymer, I'm going to die cut a label first. And I want this one. Actually, no, I'll do it after, because I want to cut it down. So let's stamp it quickly. Right. So just black memento. Stamp the happy. A little scrap left, which just fell on the floor. That we should be able to get the birthday on. So this is the same layout, I've just sort of stepped it up a bit. Happy birthday. Now what I'm going to do is cut this one up. Can you see how big it is? I wanted to have a shorter version, so simply just chop that off, because we don't need all of that. We're going to cut it once, find the edge of the washi. How big do we want it? We're just going to cut the whole thing first. Now I'm going to put it in my machine that way, because it's easier to run through that way than it is that way, because the rollers have got to go over that edge of the die and over that edge of the die. So if you put it in that way, it will go through much easier. So we'll just cut the whole thing once. Like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lay it down. It's a bit distracting with all that grunge underneath. I'll have to sort that out. I'll get some rubbing alcohol on it. That will sort it, won't it? And then we're going to lay this one over the top. And then, can you see how I've got it into the groove so that I can just slide it up and down? So we want the same kind of distance that we've got here, and the same distance there. Just tape that down, run it through again. So we now have, oh, I can't pick anything up, a shortened version of that die. Okay, so that's original length, and then we've just chopped it down. You can do that with a lot of dies as well. So we've got our happy, we've got our birthday. Just chop the ends off. Oops. Yeah, good thing about the power balls and that is you feel like you're having a treat, especially the chocolatey ones with the cocoa in. You feel like you're actually having a treat when they're full of goodness. And obviously they taste sweet because the dates are sweet, and the dates are sugary, but they're natural sugar, so they're not all this refined rubbish that you'll be eating in a general cereal bar. So I'm just laying down on the left hand side my embossed panel, hoping it's somewhat straight. Then this layer that we added the linen thread to, we're going to put over the top. So I want quite a bit of Tombow on here because it's sitting on this embossed layer, so it's going to take a little longer to stick to it. So just down from the top, equally centered, so equal gap side to side. We'll just give that a little press for a minute while the Tombow dries. Just trying to read comments. And then because of the linen thread, I thought I'd pop this layer on dimensionals. So we'll put a couple at the top, one at the bottom to straddle the linen thread. And I'm just going to pop that centrally as well, like so. Flowers are definitely going to pop. So we're on 2 layers now, 2 layers of dimensionals. So not for the faint-hearted if you don't like spending a lot of money on postage. But of course you could pop these flat. You don't have to dimension them, but you know me, I like my layers. Let's put them roughly where we had them last time, in a bit. Down a bit. Pop these lovely delicate leaves, just bend that up. Bit of Tombow on the back. Don't need much Tombow, you know how strong it is. Just like wedge it under and then hold it down to stick. And then I've got this other one that I cut, do you remember? Put that one in as well. Put that one over there. Just hold it a minute. Oops. Add in our flower, bird, even, our tweet tweet. And I think our happy will just pop flat, and our birthday will raise. Oh, that wasn't very straight, it's going to hang over the edge. So we can lift that one up gently, without pulling too much paper off. Better. Oops. It was just showing. Tombow on the back of this one, because we're going to keep that one flat. So we'll just pop the happy in there. Doesn't stand out greatly, but when you look at it in real life, you can see that it's a die cut. And then we'll pop our birthday down there, like we did on the last one. And then I think we could call that done. It's very 3D. It's beautiful in real life. I mean, if you were popping this in the post, it would probably get a little schmoosed along the way, but schmooshed? Is there such a word? What you could do then is we have these delicious coordinating in colour shimmer gems. I've got a packet open here, so I'm going to be using these as part of my live stamping, and if you purchase the kits when I do my 3rd Tuesday live stamping, you will get things like the embellishments that I've used included, and the DSP that I've used. That will be cut up in your kits ready. So let us pop, let's do alternates. Let's do a pretty in pink on, shall we? Let's just stick it on gently and see what it looks like. No, I feel that's wrong. Let's put pink on pink and peach on peach. That's better. Oh, how pretty is that? Honestly, when you see things on film and on photo, they are just not the same as they are in real life. Just bring some lighting up a bit. Absolutely adore that. Although it's going to cost a fortune to post it, need a good bit of protection around that. I would never just put this straight in an envelope. If I'm putting gems and things on, I will always pop a cello cover over that before it goes in the envelope. So thank you, everybody. Let's show you my original. So that was using the Fun Patterns embossing folder, and it's looks much flatter, doesn't it, for some reason. So I'm glad you're enjoying them. So those are my 2 cards, and this is really like a sneak at what I will be doing at my next 2 lives. So I'm going to be focusing on the Choose Happy stamp set. So if it's something that's been on your radar, today's the day to get it because we've got free shipping. Thanks everybody, that's nice. I love seeing your positive comments. That's lovely. Yeah, they're going to be kind of the same but different, the projects. As I said, I've got 3 cards that will be for my live where you can stamp with me, but also I will have the option that you can add on the kit for my scrapbooking page and the kits for the 2 3D projects that I've got to do over the next 2 lives. And there'll be add-ons. So I will set this all up in my events website, and also I'm going to be setting up Stripe so that I can give you a link and you can subscribe monthly to the kits. Now I've got a figure in my head of £10 for the kits posted for the cards. But then the add-on kits will be extra, but obviously if you get them together there won't be the extra postage. So yeah, so there will be a lot more information, blog posts coming out, email if you're in my email group. So yeah, more information on that, but they will be focused around this kind of theme, using the same kind of things. I don't really want to do any sneak peeks right at this moment. There will be some DSP added. But yeah, I'm excited for like the scrapbooking page as well. So, because that's definitely, I haven't scrapbooked for a while. I used to do scrapbooking classes and then it just felt there was no desire for it. And we've struggled with Stampin' Up with stamping scrapbooking products. But yeah, things are going to be changing in that direction. So that is good news. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you. I need to grab a coffee. I've got a phone call booked with somebody, a very good friend of mine. So I am going to do that, have a coffee, have a Powerball. Julie, I will send you over something. And I'll be back with you all very soon. So hopefully now, fingers crossed, I can focus back more on my business in the upcoming weeks, and we will see where we go from there. So right, thank you all so much for stopping by and joining me. Thank you. If you are catching me on the replay on YouTube, please do let me know. I know most of you leave me a lovely comment, and I love reading them and I try to reply to them. So I'll be back with you all very, very soon. So take care, and if you've got some good weather, make the most of it and enjoy it. So bye for now, my lovelies. Goodbye.